It's a perfect storm right now in the industry between mergers and AI. It's a mess right now. Actors they're dying to work. There's less and less shows that's going on. But theater may be the solution that we as artists are looking for. That's what we're going to talk about with my next guest as we go beyond the take. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Take. I am your host, actor and producer Mark Schwann, here for an exciting episode. I am pumped about this one. We go way back to our Meisner days at Maggie Flanagan's studio longer than I care to share on air. um, but she's an amazing talent, an amazing human being. You may recognize her from such shows such as Daredevil, Law and Order, and 30 Rock. Can't forget about that one. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Sunita Deshpande.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
Girl, let's talk about this.
Let's talk about it. What's up?
Let's talk about this. How like we reconnected. It was funny, like was it like almost 10 years ago was the last time I texted you, right?
No, it was 20, was it 2018? We went through your phone because it was like no, 2019. It was like literally right before pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
not
it was
10 years
something
yet.
crazy.
But yeah,
Oh, I'm an actor. I can't do math. Anywho,
yeah.
anywho, like it's funny. Like so I'm looking at theaters to do my play, right, for a stage reading for my show that I have coming out, and we were looking at the chain theater, and we fell in love with it. Me and my producer partner Suzanne, we just fell in love with this place, and like we need to see a show here. And lo and behold, I know you've been promoting on social media, and it just clicked. I was like, oh my God, Sunita's play is at the chain theater. I need to go see it. I need to text her. And the last time I texted you, what did I say? It was like, hey, when things die down, let's get together. That was back in 2019. And it opened up, hey, I guess things are finally dying down.
So funny. So funny.
And your play, Justice for Geeta, let's get right into this. I mean, it was just amazing. It was your first time directing.
It was my first time directing. Yeah, I was acting in it. I co-produced it. I wrote it and I directed it. I was the first time director ever. And I've never wanted to direct ever. So that was just kind of a very uncomfortable where you grow kind of situation.
It's
But
so
thank
funny
you
you
so
said
much.
that.
Thank you for coming
Oh,
out.
oh, come on. I mean, of course. I mean, yo, we go back. We
And you
go
brought your two
back.
friends with you, your lovely two friends.
Yeah,
And yeah, thank you so much. It was such an emotional play. It was
powerful.
written and based on a true story, unfortunately, about a woman named Geeta Angara. It's funny, I come from an improv background and jokes and comedy, and I love Neil Simon and I love the funny stuff. But for some reason, the last three chain theater plays I put up in the short play festival have all been very serious ones. But yeah,
But that shows your range, though. But I just want to touch on something you said real fast
yeah.
because I just find it crazy that you said it. Because whatever reason, I thought you directed, right? And because I going back to our days of Maggie Flanagan, right? We were scene partners, and like I felt like you just had this instinct, this natural instinct of directing, right? So that's why it shocked me that you never had an interest in directing. Why is that? And then what changed?
It's too smart. It's too smart and it's
But you're
too
so
hard.
smart. You're so
Oh, thank
smart.
you. Honestly, directing has always scared the bejesus out of me because you really are playing God, right? You're seeing God is in the details and you're seeing all the little small moving pieces at the same time and telling this whole story. But at the same time, you're seeing the big picture. And so I just have such a great deal of respect for directing. It's actually why I didn't pursue stand up very much at all
Mm. Scares
until
the shit out of me.
recently. Yeah, because I don't know if you remember at Maggie Flanagan, they would tell us an actor's job is basically you're walking a tightrope. And we were just talking just now, my favorite comedian is Bill Burr. I've watched his career throughout all of its existence. I've devoured everything that man has done and seen how hard he's worked. And I think when you're a stand-up comedian, you're walking a tightrope made out of dental floss. That's how I see it.
Ooh,
And
okay.
so I had actually done a movie called Moonshot with Michelle Buteau and Cole Sprouse and Lana Condor, and that was during pandemic, shortly after. you and I last texted. And Michelle Buteau and I would hang out at the bar, kind of at the Lowe's hotel after shoots. And she would tell me, she was like, "You're funny. You should do stand up." And I was like, I have way too much respect for it. I would never, but she kept encouraging me and told me to do it. And I was like, I'm just an improviser. I love improv. Improv is my
Same.
bread. Like, I adore it. It's a group sport. It's my favorite sport in the world. But she rightfully so was like, yeah, but you know what? You should really still, again, uncomfortable where you grow kind of thing. So, in
Mm.
that vein, directing and stand up and all of those things are not really things I really wanted to do ever until I was kind of pushed into it. So thank you for the instinctual thing. Sometimes I feel it, but I also kind of don't want to be a bossy person ever. So that's why I kind of tried to avoid directing for as long
Well,
as I
I
could.
just I just remember you just have such a clear vision for things. And like
Thank you.
you communicate it really well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Which are it's crazy because again, I mean, it's so long ago, but like that's something I remember about you and why I enjoyed working with you so much. Like, not to say like, I didn't enjoy working with any other of our colleagues at Megan Flanagan's studio, but like, you and I feel like we formed a special bond during
Yeah.
that. Um, Bloody Mary is involved in everything.
But we have to tell this Bloody Mary story, right? Like,
Yes,
this is the
please.
clip that's going to make it to social media, right? The Bloody Mary story between Geeta and Marc. Okay, picture it. Okay,
Lay it on them.
picture it.
Paint the picture.
Literally, picture it. New York City, right? Midtown. What was it? You and I were partners, and I will say this about myself because I've become much more vulnerably open lately. Um, but yeah, I would say that you and I were going to meet up, right?
Yeah.
For a practice, for rehearsal. And Charlie had said we could, this is how I remember. This is my
Oh,
version.
that's right. That's
Charlie
right.
had said we could use the studio on the weekend. So the studio was, people who were watching, it was right by, what was it, 27th
It,
and
it, it was
27th
right by
in that
the
area.
New York Fashion Institute. It was
Yeah.
right by there. Yeah.
Right by FIT. And so we were going to go practice. And then we went, and I think it was like a Saturday. This is what I remember. And then
Yes.
there was no one there. For some reason, something had happened. There wasn't anybody there. So we were like, okay, we don't know where to practice, can't practice on the street. What can we do? So then you and I look at each other, and then we look at the Triple Crown, which is right across the street. And I don't remember which one of us said it, but one
It
of
was
us.
most likely me. It was most likely me. I'll be honest.
I think it was me because I'm not as bad as I used to be. I used to be a booze hound. Anyone who knows me knows that. And they were like, I just remember there's one of us said, "Do you want to get a drink?"
Because there was a sign that said too, like brunch or like
Totally. It was brunch time, you
yeah,
guys who were watching this. Yeah.
yeah,
And,
like
and so then
unlimited
you
Bloody
and I are
Marys.
like, what?
It was like unlimited Bloody Mary, something I don't know, or
Oh my God, it was
maybe we made it unlimited.
right. No, I think so. I think we put the unlimited in unlimited because it was that. You're right, because it was brunch hour. So it was like in the middle of the day. And then I had nothing to do. I didn't have work that day. I don't think you
Same.
did. So it was like,
No.
all right, let's just go hang out, just have a Bloody Mary and go home. And then like one Bloody Mary turned into just how
Yeah.
many? Oh my
With
God, we
brunch
were loved it.
time, it was brunch time until darkness.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh, it was. And then that's the thing. Oh my gosh. And like you knew me, but we like knew each other like kind of like in a, hey, let's do our scene kind of way, whatever.
yeah, yeah,
And this
yeah.
was such a funny bonding moment for me with you because that's when I just remember looking at social media because I had not opened up to you about any of my personal life. And then I was like, this is my ex. And I started like
Oh my God, I
crying. I remember
remember.
that. I just like like I was, when you're so tired, the tears were just coming down. Like I wasn't even crying,
Yes,
like release.
I remember that.
And you were like, you were so cool, Marc. You were like, man, that sucks. I'm sorry. Like you were so kind. I remember
Thank you.
that you're like, man, that sucks. And I was like, man, like I felt like so close to you at that moment. I was like, this is like talking to my
We
brother or something. I felt so close.
we formed such a bond from that. It's like one of my top five favorite hangs, I think, of all time. Because just like yeah, we were scene partners.
Right.
I remember at one point I thought like, I don't think she likes me. In the
There
beginning.
were points I was like, I
And-
don't think he likes me. And that's why I
It's so
love
funny.
like this kind of stuff because I was just like, I think that's what happened. And I think that's what I loved about Maggie Flanagan and the experience with you, because particularly you, because there were a couple people who really brought me out of my shell. a lot of Indian, model minority, Asian students are taught to get like straight A's all through life and deliver that way. And what I loved about my experience there was the fact that it was not straight A's. It was not something that you could mark up on a piece of paper, to use
No.
your name. It was something that you had to learn organically. And so there was something so cool about going out and having those drinks with you and literally me breaking down in front of you and you being so kind about it and understanding that I felt safe. And then our scene partnership, I felt it really grew from there.
Yo, I
And
was
it's the
seriously
thing
just
you
about to
can't
say
teach.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like yeah, it definitely strengthened our connection, like, in real life, but also as scene partners. Like,
yes.
because there is that trust, right? Because, like,
There's
anything that we
trust.
did in that class was just so, like, it was like level 10, like, as far as like vulnerability and the
Yes.
trust you had to have in your partner. And, like, man, I feel like there was another girl I feel like I connected with as well. But like you, man, there was something special about it. Because I think it's funny. I didn't necessarily know you didn't think I liked you, because I really thought you didn't like me in the beginning. And after that, I think our guards were just down, and we did the
Yes.
trust like that we just
Yes.
had in each other, and that we
Yes.
still remember today. I'm like, my God, I can't even do the math on that one. Like, I don't even know what year that was at this point.
I
But
don't either. I just remember, like, the way you just put it is so good. It was just dark outside all of a sudden.
yeah,
The
yeah.
bartender was handing me the last. It's like if I shot it like a movie, like a director, the bartender was just handing me, it would just be the shot of him handing me all these napkins, and they weren't enough because I was crying so
Oh
much.
my God.
I can laugh about it now. You know, that's a funny thing about the universe when you can really laugh about something and it's like no longer painful. It's hilarious. But like
Oh,
that
totally.
girl that I was, that pain, and it was like you were there for me like a brother, and it's like just that love and trust, and then we just grew from it. And I don't have a brother in real life, right? So like
Oh
anytime
wow.
I mesh with anybody who I can feel that way. And that's why one of the plays I wrote is about a brother that it turns out he's a passed away ghost. But so much of what I've written for
Oh.
myself is a lot of healing because, like we would talk, you and I remember you were dating a bunch of people, I was dating a bunch of people, and to be like, oh, I kind of have a crush on this person, but like, I don't know if I should ask this person out.
Yes.
I
Yes.
remember we'd have these
Yeah.
conversations and we would be so honest with each other. We
Yeah.
would be I'll be vulnerable too. I remember there was one guy who had tried to he had tried to get with me, like physically get with me. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, I'm sorry. Like I'm like Joan on Girlfriends. I have a 3 month rule. I don't just like hook up. Like I'd said that. And he had gotten really mad at me. And like I never experienced this before because we were on a first date. And then I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not into casual sex. And I'm bringing up sex like this quickly in your podcast. And he got so mad. And I remember he turned from like a Jekyll to a Hyde. And I had wondered,
No.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Oh
crazy. It was
man.
like a narcissism study. It was almost like I saw 0 to 60, like in his eyes, he turned into like Joker. It was insane.
Oh my God.
I've never seen anything like it before. This like really sweet boy. And I was just like, I'm really sorry. This is just, I'm not like that. I was physically attracted. I was kissing him on the sidewalk. Good night. But that's as far. So then I remember I came up to him and I was like, Mark, what did I do wrong? Because I had gone home that night. I wondered what I'd done wrong. I just started dating again. I didn't know what I'd done wrong. And I woke up the next morning and I just started bawling. I just did because I really liked him. And I had come up, we were in class together, and I was like, Mark, what did I do wrong? Like
Oh my God.
I
I think
was
I
I was,
remember this.
I was like, I was kind, I was nice. Yes, of course I was attracted, but I just didn't want to push too far, too fast, like all this stuff. And you, Mark, went, Sunita, you won. And I went, what did I win? I definitely didn't win a boyfriend. And you were like, no, you're like, you did everything right. Like that's what this person was after. And he was trying to play you and you won. You told me that straight to my face because I had no experience really dating in the New York market
Hmm.
because my first long termer was from college. So I didn't know what it was like I was like a sheep in a town of wolves. So the fact that you sat down and explained it to me is like one of my, again, it was just like This guy gets
Wow.
me. He's going to tell me what's up. He's going to
I
tell me the truth.
I love that you remember that. Wow.
Oh,
Like
thank
that's
you.
because like honestly, now that I'm a girl dad, like I feel like hearing stories like that, about me even, Jesus Christ, hearing stories about that just like makes me think I was made to be a girl dad.
You
You know what
know
I mean?
what's funny? They have a saying. I don't know what culture it is. I don't know if it's my culture or whatever, but it says a lot of guys who like had their fun when they were younger tend to become girl dads because that's the lesson from karma, kind of just showing you. It's not bad or good or happy or sad. It's just kind of karmatically like I don't know if it's from Hinduism or what, but I have heard that.
I love every second of it, I have to say. Like, and like, I remember too, like, there was another dude in our class, but he dropped out fairly quick. And I was the only guy in that class. And we would often go out to Triple Crown,
Yeah.
at least for like a drink or apps or whatever afterwards, like a
Yeah.
bunch of us.
Yeah.
And we did, we all kind of like bonded with that. And
Yeah.
we would share our stories. It was like almost like all the girls were asking about like, all right, so
Yeah.
this is what happened. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
And I did feel like a almost like a big brother in a sense,
Yeah.
with that. And then like of course then I would spill the tea with you girls and ask your advice too.
Yeah.
It was man, what a bonding session, man. I miss those days.
I miss those days too. I think maybe who you're talking about was it Adam Cobb?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, what a
adore
throwback.
I adored him. He's such a great. I have to get in. He's doing life coaching stuff. He's
Oh, he
lovely.
was doing that
Both
back
of you,
then
we were
too.
so lucky. Both of you guys were lovely.
Oh man, thank you. But let's get into you. Like enough about me. Jesus Christ. Um, Justice for Geetha was just again not to
Thank
just go
you.
on and on about like how good you are and whatnot, but like such a powerful play. But like you shared that this is a real story, so like I let's touch on that. Like if you can share with the audience the story real fast, but then also like how this came to be as far as like you making this into a play. I would love to hear about this.
Justice for Geeta. Justice for Geeta, she was found at the bottom of a tank. She was a 43-year-old Indian woman who had immigrated to America, Geeta Angara. And in February of 2005, she had been recently promoted to senior chemist at the Passaic Water Plant in Ottawa, New Jersey. And then one day she was missing at work for 12 hours. And it turns out she was given a random assignment to collect a random water sample by a random technician. And she never returned from it. And there was a sandwich that was actually left on her desk that she had intended to eat when she returned for lunch. She had never come back from lunch that day. And it's a story about corporate jealousy. That's what they originally said it was. They originally said it was foul play at work. There were coworkers, one of them, quote unquote, said, 90% of the plant is white. Not all of them like seeing immigrant women do well, having an immigrant woman promoted over them. But she was so educated. She had a doctorate from NYU, she had a master's from Chennai and from NYU as well. And it was really just something that I had read many years ago. It was an article that mentioned her daughter had gone to her closet and would hug her mother's coats and clothes and cry, hoping for her mother to come back. The father had shared that story with the reporters. And sometimes in life, I'll read something or something will hit me so much, it'll make me physically ill. And I will feel it in my body. And it will be, if anyone here does yoga, it'll be stored in your body.
I
And
felt that on watching that, like how you were like totally feeling that on stage.
yeah,
Sorry to cut you off, but like I just
no,
had to
no,
share
it's
that.
totally fine. And it's sometimes, that's what's funny about yoga too. And that's another thing we can get into, but I try to go 5 times a week to hot yoga. Um, there's certain parts of your body that store things. So you might be in your thigh and suddenly you're like with the happiest, funniest memories and you're giggling and laughing. It happens to me all the time. My right thigh. And then I'm doing, standing bow on the left. And all of a sudden I'm just so upset about something and I don't know why. And the body really does keep the score, right? So this story had resonated so much with me. Shaden Theater, we have done two other plays there before. I've written one called The Princess of Tea, which I describe as an episode of Frasier, my favorite show, meets imperialism. So it's a very dark episode of Frasier that I've written about colonization. And then the second play I had was an Indian wedding on a starry night in South Georgia, somewhere in early November, which is a play where it turns out that my brother in the play happens to be that I'm talking to at an Indian wedding event outside in the back. It turns out he's a ghost of someone who had died in an actual true crime again in Georgia that had actually happened to. It was an Indian race crime. So
Mm.
the chain theater again puts up, you have to, we're calling for submissions. I've been able to do two of them. The first one was in the non-union block, the Princess of Tea. The second one was in the AEA block. And then this one also got accepted into the AEA block, which is cool because, we have like people like top playwrights, Broadway playwrights, Tony Award winners. We have Jesse Eisenberg producing in the same blocks. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh wow. I didn't know that.
But yeah, it's such a great opportunity. I adore the chain. That's why when you said you came to the chain to see the space, I went, Mark, they're good eggs. You're a good egg. Like I'm all about good eggs working together. Just such
Yeah,
loving, loving, good, kind. Christina and Rick, like just the whole theater, just such good eggs, good vibes, good energy. That's where you want to feel
totally.
safe and create, right? Like I did with you as
Yeah,
a partner. It's a partnership. It's you're bearing your soul on that stage. So long story short, that story had resonated with me and I was like, what can I write about? And so I just started writing this story about Geeta Angara. The funniest part, darkly comic part, of course, my story of my life. I was on a shoot in Shenandoah for 2 weeks. It was an overnight shoot the entire time. I just actually hung out with Charlie Sandlin. I was talking to him the other day,
that
he
was our
was
teacher for those that don't know.
yes, the lovely Charlie Sandlin, the amazing, peerless Charlie Sandlin, who has taught us so much, and I will always hear yelling at me in the back of my head,
Yes, he's
take
still in my
them
head today.
in.
He's still in my
Take
head
them
today.
in. You're not responding. How does that make you feel?
I I just see him like just looking back at the rest of the class like he's not listening.
Yeah,
He's not listening.
absolutely. How is this person looking at you? What is their voice? Like, oh my gosh. But thank God for him. Anytime I check out in a moment, he checks me the fuck back in.
Hmm.
So his voice will always be there to thankfully guide us. But overall, this entire story of Justice for Geetha was just me just trying to get something out of my chest that had haunted me. But the ironic part was I was on set for 2 weeks in Shenandoah shooting this horror film for 2 weeks. And I had originally written this play. It kind of had a West Wing kind of vibe to it. That's what I really like. My boyfriend and I love West Wing. We love Frasier. We always have that playing in the background in the house. And I'd written it that way, but I had a male role. And actually, as an homage to the West Wing, named after Jeb Bartlett, the guy's name in the play is Jeb, Jeb. And he's their boss, and he was going to come in, and we had this phenomenal actor. Oh my God! You open up the self tape. Oh my God! This is the first one. I was like, this is the guy. I know you're not supposed to say it on the first one. I looked at a bunch of other self tapes for the girls and stuff, but I was like, this is the guy. And he Jeffrey Vincent Thomas, and he ended up and think I mean he's amazing. So it doesn't make I mean I'm proud of him. He booked after I wrote this, we had our original rehearsals in my Airbnb on Zoom. I'm going on to set one night to shoot an overnighter, and I get this text, and he's like, the text is subject, ugh.
Oh
And I'm
no,
like,
that's when you know.
and you're like in your makeup and you're like, you're going for the overnighter. And I'm like, oh boy. And I open it, my producer's on it too, CC, and I'm like, oh boy, oh boy. And Shubra, who's great, Shubra Prakash, she's shout out, she's an amazing producer. And it says, I booked an Adam McKay project for
Oh
an
my
HBO
God.
series.
Oh my God.
It's a comedy series. It's coming out, chair company. So I'm like, what? So I'm like so happy. And then he's just like, because Chain, I understand it. They're very, very strict about their tech rehearsals. They're
Hmm.
very, very strict. Everyone has to be there. Even the director has to be there. Everyone off book, I get it. And so I think like even people might be watching, and be like, oh, it's not that big a deal. It's a chain. Like it's tech. No, it's a big deal. And so he was just like, I can't do it. And I'm just like, oh man, okay, like fine. So instead, of recasting it. The first second, I almost thought to recast it. And that's when I think I told you too. We had people who were guest stars on Ozark and people who were series regs on very, very, very big household name shows that you would definitely know, reaching out to me, wanting Jeb's part. It
That's
was,
insane.
that's when I went. And then I am also going to tell you this too now. 490 girls applied for the role of Shelley in
Wow.
2 days on Actors Access. And we have
Wow.
a Black women's actress role called Tabitha. We got 90 in 2 days. And for Jeb's initial roll call, we had gotten 90 in 2 days. But when I saw those numbers, and that's why I think every single actor needs to cast, when you see those numbers that are against you, and people are like, oh, yeah, well, Shelley, white woman, 30s. I mean, yes, I understand it. There's more there. But the fact that on Actors Access alone, because we put on Actors Access and Backstage, Actors Access alone, in 2 days, 490 people for
Were
Shelley's
these
job,
for from reps or are they self-submissions? Or do you
both.
not know that? Both.
And
Wow.
it was just insane because I mean, again, it's an equity block, right? So
Yeah.
you don't have to be equity to be in an equity block. You can be non-union in
Yes.
an equity block, but not the other way around, right? So the fact that we got that many, I went, okay, these are the numbers. And my boyfriend is always Mr. Sagittarius. Like I'm a Gemini. He always chimes in with his data. He's always like, yeah, like you have to know that every time you've gotten pinned, every time you've gotten a hold, every time you've gotten a callback, every time you've gotten a booking, every time you've even gotten called in, that needs to be resonating in you as that is such a win in the first place. So
Hmm.
cut to me on set in Shenandoah, totally sleepless because we'd had such sleepless nights. And I'm like, I'm not gonna recast this. Like I was just like initially I was going to, but now what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna rewrite this whole damn play and it's just gonna be three women and it's gonna be just like a damned version of 9 to 5. And so I wrote it just between Shelley and Tabitha to put the women front and center to tell the story about how women deal with corporate atmospheres, white women, black women. And then I put me as the narrator, as this trying to be voice of reason in the beginning, but eventually the narrator gets pulled emotionally into the story because she can't handle the injustice. And eventually she gets emotionally pulled into the story. So that is how the play Justice for Geeta came across. In the beginning, the narrator was just there to serve the facts. She was found at the bottom of a tank. Geeta Angara, age 43, recently promoted senior chemist at the Passaic Water Plant in Ottawa, New Jersey. All those lines, but then eventually the
It
line
was
that says,
so well done. It
let the
was so
daughter
unique
pull
how
you
you did it.
in.
I've never
Thank
seen
you.
a play or anything for that matter do something like that with a
Thank
narrator.
you.
So it was really well done. Lots of things I want to touch on here.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Because like especially like the core of this podcast is about it's the state of the industry essentially. And like that's how I should have named it. The state of the industry.
I
Like it
think you
sounds
should just
so
make a GIF after what we just said. You're like the state of the industry. And I'm like,
right. Formal address here. 490 actors reached out, people that are recurring and guest stars. So now, like, I can imagine as a director, that's overwhelming to get, right? Like so many auditions, so many people to look through. But then as an actor, when you start seeing these names, right? And like I imagine that you're well versed as far as like what's going in the industry right now, that you have your finger on the pulse. Like as an actor, how did that make you feel too? Were you just like, oh fuck? Or did you not
100%,
think that?
100%, 100%. Um, you have to lift yourself out of your body like you're having an out of body experience, I think, as an actor, and really see all the parts. And that's what intimidates me about being a director, because that's essentially whatever you believe in, God, the universe is doing with us. It has all these moving parts at the same time, and people not realizing the other person's point of view. But when I saw that, the level of humility, obviously we all have to be humble actors. I'm friends with humble actors. That's why I'm friends with you. You keep it humble. You
Gotta.
celebrate your wins, but you keep it humble. I don't do entitlement. I can't handle it. That's probably why I don't
But I feel
do
like
it in
this industry
Hollywood.
does humble you, though. It does find a way to humble you.
I I would say for me. My boyfriend, again, literally the opposite sign of the zodiac. I'm June 21st, he's December 19th. We're like literally opposite. Summer solstice, almost literal winter solstice. The balance there has been hilarious because he will say things to me like, do you realize these casting directors that are consistently calling you back is the biggest win for you? They like you. They like your tapes. They want to see you succeed. Versus the actress going, oh my gosh, I've just sent in my blah, 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 10th, whatever tape to this same person.
Oh
They're
my
not going to
God.
book me,
Yes.
right? And for my boyfriend to say, hello, do you notice the same names showing up on that casting, like callback? Do you see the same names of the people calling you back in for various roles? That is your win because you're creating relationships. You are a brand, and that is something that people don't realize as actors. So that to me was the greatest lesson. So anytime now that a CD calls me back, or even right with improv for I don't know if you go into Beth Melski or anything like that for your tapes, for auditions, for commercials, if they are actively requesting you, or if you show up at callbacks and you are number one in that callback, like to go first that day, you're basically warming up the room. And classic me was like, wow, what did I do what wrong? Always, because I've always been the straight A, good student, A's and B's. I won't say straight A's, straight A's. No, A's and B's, good student. That's dumb
I'm
for an
not fact
Indian.
checking this,
I
by the
guess
way.
A and B is dumb for an Indian, but but the point is like I'm in the back of the bus, I guess then. But the point is that all this time I thought I was doing something wrong, and my boyfriend's no, you need to realize that these people calling you back into the room, they trust you. They're putting you in front of the advertising clients. They're putting you in front of the ad agency people. They're putting you. So those are the kind of things that it is it's such an out of body experience, and it really makes you go, wow, I really cannot take this personally, you know? The other day I auditioned for something. I was so proud of the audition I had sent in. I thought it was very strong. And then, of course, they announce on Deadline who got it. And it's like probably the most famous Indian actress in the world who got it, you
Wow.
know? So all you can do is just keep doing good work. And
Right. I mean, that's all you can really do, man. Like, I
yeah.
remember when I first started doing this like full time, because back with, back in the Maggie Flanagan, I feel like I had like one foot in, one foot out at that point. Um, but like when I decided like I'm going all in, man, did I go all in. And like one of my
Hmm.
first couple of like professional auditions, it was for a major part for they were just bringing back Prison Break, right? And I remember going to Fox, right? And being this back in the day when you go in the room.
Those days, yeah.
Those days. So I remember being in the waiting room, right? And I see like actors waiting in the waiting room, people I've seen on TV before, right? And
Yeah.
I'm a young buck in this. I'm like, oh fuck. Like it was just like psyching myself out in a way, right? Because it was just such a mind fuck when you like if your first like professional audition in that sense for a major project, it is easy to get psyched out. And I remember that was a good learning lesson for me then because it was not a good audition for me. I'll tell you that. But like to your credit, like now we don't necessarily see who we're up against, because it's all self tapes. But you see afterwards who gets the part, and like honestly, it's if it's someone I recognize, like as far as like a name talent, like awesome, great, cool. I was up against that, but I find sometimes it's like people I know, like personally, that book it, and like honestly, like I get happy for them. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, especially if it's like I'll have to see. Like I remember one point with co-stars, like for whatever reason, like my manager or whatever casting views him is a big guy. I'm like 6'2", like a little bit over 200 pounds, right? And they go for like these security guards or whatever, or these intimidating guys. And I always lose out to the same guy in these roles who was like 6'7",
Yeah.
like an 8 pack, completely jacked. I'm like, I can't compete against that, but good for him.
It's funny, we had actually gone to there was at Maggie Flanagan, they had Liza Colin Zayas come in and she's killing it on the bear. And I've actually her son has directed me in some stuff.
Oh
And
wow, that's awesome.
it's been so fun to work with him, and he's so great. And she had said, I had actually written down word for word when she said, because they say comparison is a thief of joy. And she actually said in that interview, comparison is deadly. She had said that to Charlie.
Mm.
And I had
Hmm.
absolutely loved that. And so that brings me to, I think you were saying about the state of the industry, and just in parallel to you being in that audition room with all these different guys, like the different people keep booking. It's so funny. I think now I've really said this mantra to myself, which is no expectations. Now, whenever I put out anything, even on social media or whatever, I just say to myself, no expectations. Um,
You
I
can't
think,
because if you're
huh?
focusing, if you can't because if you're
No, you
focusing too
can't.
much on the result,
Yeah, you
right?
really can't.
The result even in the scene or the result even just like of booking the part, or just the result in general. Like you're not in the moment and then you lose out. You
No,
know?
you're not. And then, like even this person who booked this huge role, I mean, I used to, again, like we go to acting school, we learn how to act, right? We learn how to like craft and do the work and everything. This person, to be very honest with you, I don't think this person is like the kind of actor that I get envious at their acting skills. There's other
Okay.
things I definitely envy about this person, but I do not envy their acting skills at all. I do not wish for them. But the point is that this person clearly brings money, and that's always the Hollywood has followed the money trail. This person is internationally known, but this isn't exactly the kind of person that's an Indian Eleanor Duza. It's not someone who's going to floor you with their acting. And that's another really important lesson. And again, that comes from, I'm learning all these lessons really later in life, but it's not a meritocracy. Jason Bateman says that all the time. And it is not about the acting. It's really,
No.
actually, I think Tina Fey had said that on a podcast one time too. She said acting is basically 95% of what your face looks like and like 5% of what if you can act. And I'm like, if I ever started an acting studio, that would be like on the wall. Like it would be like love Hollywood, honestly. Like it would just be that
Yeah.
quote. It would just be like XOXO, like Hollywood. Because that to
So
me
fix my face.
clarifies.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got
It's
it
what
on
does
it.
your face look like? And like, can you act? Like, did you have the right face for that part? That's it.
Right.
And
No,
so when I
and
saw that, I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah.
that's so much like what goes into it. And now it's just like what I was getting to with that, with like, with so many people like that applied for your role, it's becoming even tougher now. There's so many actors,
People want to work, dude. Totally.
talented actors and people that
Yes.
we recognize that are just,
Yes.
I feel like even in crew, no one's really talking about this. Crew, I know firsthand that people are just leveling down. And not to say like leveling down, going to theater or whatnot is leveling down, but like they're just doing whatever they can to get work. Like I know people are going for, they're series regulars, they're going for guest stars. I know people are going guest stars, going back to co-stars. Co-stars going back to background. I know ADs are PAing. Like it's insane right
Household
now.
name movie stars taking commercials.
That's all you see now. Every commercial.
Commercials. When before it was like, I only do commercials in Japan. Yeah, because they need to pay their rent too. Everybody needs to pay off their whatever,
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
house, their baby oil, whatever they have to pay off. So people have to pay off what they have to pay off. So that's why everyone's taking. My friend, she actually works at a temp agency, and I was chatting with her, and she goes, Sunita, I have never seen anything like this before. She's like, usually I had actors coming in like, oh, can I file for like this many hours a week? I'll just like whatever. Now that's all completely gone because back in the day when she started, they don't do filing anymore. Everything's computers. But she said, I'm telling you, she's like, I have people not from just acting, but from acting industry, including wardrobe, makeup, crew, like you're saying, coming in, and she's having to turn people away from the temp agency
That's wild. That is wild right
for
now.
the first time in her life. And it's people who are crew, people who are used to having work, having to come to her and saying, I usually do makeup or whatever. I can't get a job. Can you please make me someone's assistant at an office?
Right. Well, you're in New York, right? And yeah, I'm in New Jersey, New York, whatever. It's same thing. And from like when I read the trades, what I'm seeing here is like, I'm seeing movies come in here, which is great. It's something. But like, from an actor standpoint, those movies tend to be cast already by the time they get
Mm-hmm.
here. If they're looking for people, it's like for day players. if that. You know, TV shows, man. I feel like I'm seeing more shows getting canceled
Hmm.
than getting picked up in
Hmm.
general, but especially in New York. Like the Blue Bloods went away, nothing replacing it. One of the FBI shows canceled. I think CIA is coming, but I don't necessarily know if that's in New York or not. Gotta double check that. Elsbeth is like the big thing in town now. What
We're
else?
shooting Devil Wears
Law and
Prada
Order, of
2,
course.
right, in New
That's a
York.
movie though, already done,
Yeah,
already
it's already
cast.
been cast.
Yeah,
No, you're right. I mean, even with verticals, right, which all the kids are doing these days, SAG are you're not allowed to do verticals, right? So I, it is kind of interesting the lay of the land of where everything is going.
it is interesting. And then you have, let's talk about this. Then you have the merger that happened right now with Skydance and
Oh
Paramount
yeah,
for
the
$8 billion.
Colbert Report. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that happened the day of when I
yeah.
saw your
You had
play.
just told me, and I was like, "What?" Yeah.
Yeah, you were shocked. You were shocked. Um, There's stuff like that where you know when you hear in the news like the devil in the details as far as like the merger itself and like, getting rid of the DEI program where they're
Oh
gonna like
yeah.
really start like you know looking after content. Hell, right now you have the FCC about to investigate The View for Christ's sakes because they spoke out against Donald J. Trump. Like you hear stuff like that because we're people of color. Um, Especially with the DEI, the elimination of DEI programs. Like, what? Like, how do you feel about that personally? Like when you hear that?
I mean, it cut to me writing justice for Geeta, you know? The only
Yeah.
place that it is left for us right now is where the real acting work that you can really do or say things right now before it goes away, right? Is in the theater. The amount of people flocking to the theater and going to the OG, which is theater, and saying the truth out loud and on stage. You know, I think even after when you guys came to see the show, we were talking after and you said that there's nothing like that feeling of
Mm.
the instant laugh from people or a gasp or a sigh. There's a part in my play where, you know, Shelley says to Tabitha, sometimes you know, get to, and Tabitha's like, what are you going to say to me, aggressive? And I'm like, she was totally going to call her aggressive, right? But I could hear the entire audience like getting on their heels and gasping and getting into it and like being on board. And what you're doing in that moment is you're creating an entire ecosystem, you know, a theater, a festival, you know, an ecosystem of not too much money back in your pocket, but an ecosystem regardless. You're feeding each other, you know, you're feeding off of each other. It's chlorophyll and light and flowers and oxygen and all that stuff happening with human spirits and souls, right? So it's a good thing I don't take things too seriously, right? Can you tell
Can't.
I avoid small talk like a mofo? But really, it's just all of us feeding off of each other, and like it's really beautiful. You know, I love watching. I loved as the narrator back in the back of the stage, sometimes watching Shelley and Tabitha talk to each other and going, "Oh my gosh, I wrote this!" Like, but that getting sucked into watching them act out the scene, but at the same time being like, "Whoa, I wrote this, but oh my gosh, I'm still in this. I better not forget my line." Like that kind of magic that happens in a theater, it's you can't replace it. Everybody's heartbeat does align because we're all together again in this ecosystem and it's the original. It's what we used to do in the OG times with fire. And at the end of the day, everyone would come to the fire and talk about how their day went and they would act it out, you know, the cavemen days. So it's in our blood, you know, it's really beautiful. So I think it's just a return to you know, AI, all that stuff, anti-DEI. I would say it's really what's really going to pop is authenticity more than ever. And it's also going to threaten. It's also going to really threaten some people because the last thing in this world, which I think, you know, I'm obsessed with narcissists. I don't know why, but I've just been fascinated watching narcissistic behavior, learning about it. Dr. Ramani's my homeboy. Like I love learning about it because I picked advertising and acting as my two careers. Like this is not a place where authentic people come. I just wanted to be creative. So boy, did I learn my lessons, you know, but now I'm learning. C-suite, a lot of people in C-suite, a lot of movie stars, a lot of politicians, they all have very high narcissistic traits and very high sociopathic traits. And all of those people are people that we've chosen in our world for some reason to celebrate and promote and put over other people when that's the last place that they need to be. A great leader needs to almost have a sixth sense, and again, that's why I was afraid to be a director because being a great leader, you have to read that room like every cell in everyone's body, neurons, electrons, flying, atoms, but emotion at the same time. I mean, and intelligence with strategy, and it's such a big undertaking. And I think a lot of, especially, and I'd read this on Reddit because I researched everything, but a lot of professors tend to be narcissists because think about
Oh,
it,
I can see
somebody's
that.
written, you have a room of kids basically being held hostage for you to perform to them so you can be
Hmm.
the star. And if you get tenure, and a lot of professors have their favorite teachers' pets. People, teachers' pets tend to be have that narcissistic vibe, and narcissistic vibe people are attracted to be teachers' pets. So I'm very fascinated by why we have chosen these people to be our leaders in our society, why our world. But nothing in this world threatens a narcissist more than someone who tells the truth and shines the light on them. They hate that. So that's why I think theater is the best place to tell the truth, but I also
Yeah.
think it would be a great threat because a lot of people don't want to hear the truth.
It's like I feel like theater, it will be like a great revolution. Everything does come full circle, right? And like, the
Yeah.
more studio heads that I see bending the knee to this current administration, the more I feel that way. And I've been feeling that way for a bit because like, I could see you're in advertising, so I'm sure AI affected your job as well. I have a marketing background with social media and whatnot. So I feel like AI hit that industry first. I could be wrong on that, but it was amongst the first. And so I was really seeing what was going on. And the next thing you know,
Yeah.
we have the SAG strike that happened and
Yeah.
everything with AI about it. I can go on full detail about that maybe another time about like how I felt about that contract. Uh, Nowhere near enough, I felt. And now we're seeing the ramifications of today and what these studio heads are doing. And I think there's a real threat of AI to this industry mixed in with these mergers, mixed in with these rollbacks, mixed in with it's just a perfect storm in our industry right now. It's not necessarily just one major thing. I said to a friend the other day, we have like a bunch of Category 5 hurricanes mixing together over this industry right now, where it's creating this big giant black spot the size of Jupiter. It's insane. Will it survive? I think it'll be different. And I think AI has been threatening that. It's the biggest threat, I think, of that. And so I've said, I think because of that, there would be a resurgence of theater. I think people will want to reel. People want to like, have that connection. And
Mm.
it's a great way for artists to go. But even still with theater, you're seeing something crazy with this. Like it's a lot of IP on Broadway, a lot of IP and stars. But I think that does create room for I hate the term trickle down effect, but there is a trickle down effect because it opens things up for off Broadway and off Broadway and so forth. I would even say regional theater would make a big comeback.
Yeah, I think this perfectly segues into this is exactly why I teach improv because I think improv is really gonna outdo AI. It's the one thing you can't out AI right now is improv. How someone is reacting moment to moment. I think that's the beautiful addiction of that drug is, and it's why I teach it too, because we're always improvising as people every single day. It doesn't always have to be funny. If I always say if the subway, you go to take the subway and the subway's not working that day, or the yellow tapes over that subway, you're like, I gotta get to work. How am I gonna do this? And then you either take a bike or you walk or you grab a cab or an Uber. That's just you hacking the moment with resourcefulness to how you are going to react in that moment. One of my favorite quotes is circumstances do not create the man, they reveal him. And I have that on a sweatshirt I made after my last play as a little reward to myself. But it's my favorite quote because it really shows who a person is by how they're going to react, right? Like
Hmm.
It's not, and I also made up a quote myself, which is if actions speak louder than words, then reactions scream.
Wow,
Because
love that.
Thank you. I'm quoting myself, but I came up with that because if you have someone who is a character in a movie and they're running late to an interview and they spill coffee on their shirt, right? One character is going to have a complete meltdown and be like, FML, this always happens to me. I can't go now, start crying, makeup streaming everywhere. Another one's just going to laugh it off and is going to show up to the interview and be like, you know what? I was so excited about this interview. I showed up. I'm not going to show up late. I got coffee. I'm going to deal with it, right? Another character might react in a different way and just, put on another shirt and not get phased at all. So there's different ways to react to a situation, and that's why I'm so fascinated by the greatest teacher I've ever had in my life, which is improvised theater. It's the spontaneous moment, really taking advantage of that spontaneous moment to deliver the best version of yourself that you can, for the benefit of you and everybody. But that to me is what I think is authentic and yet grounded, and I think that that's what a lot of people are going to want to see more of in theater, is that really that living moment, truthfully to moment, and just having so much fun and not knowing where that's going to go. Um, hopefully, hopefully.
No, I think so. Though. I don't necessarily think hopefully. I think it's just a matter of when, and I think that's what it is. I think it's gonna when the studios release what they're doing with AI, which I think their eventual plans will be. I think it's gonna be groundbreaking, right? I think it's gonna make everyone have curiosity check it out as far as what the next form of entertainment will be. But I think as fast and hard as that hits, I think what's going to happen is sooner or later people are just going to want real. And you don't get more real than live, than theater, than improv, than again those connections that you feel. And oh my God,
Uh-huh.
man, there's something romantic about being on stage performing, right? In front of a new crowd every
Oh
night.
gosh, yes.
Like
The
it's just like
nerves, the tension, the excitement, the thrill, yes.
yeah. Oh God. Just because every show, yes, it's scripted the same way, whatnot. You direct it a certain way, but like, man, it's so different every night. It depends on the audience, and there's something special about it. And I think audiences know that too. And they're going to want that. AI can't duplicate that. It just can't. I'm sorry, but touching on improv, I do want to touch on this because you have your own business, right?
Yes, successful
You
spontaneity, yes.
so essentially you tied basically your two backgrounds together, your passion for improv, and you're helping, from what I understand, you're helping professionals with your improv, correct? Like,
Yes.
talk to more.
Yeah, that's correct. I went to a place called Miami Ad School, which is a great portfolio school after I attended University of Florida. I did that in conjunction with Florida International University. So I got a master's and I also got my portfolio that I developed as a copywriter at Miami Ad School. And while I was there, I wrote a thesis on how improvisational thinking is really helpful in brainstorming, especially for creative thinking in the advertising world. So I had written that and I was very passionate about it. And I also taught courses at my med school after school with friends who did advertising. They would always tell me how much it helped them think on the spot, but also work together collaboratively. And it's not the most newest concept in the world, but I think especially now as we go more into AI, that's why I always say the one thing you cannot out AI is how you improvise, how you react in the moment as you yet. You
What do you mean?
cannot.
ChatGPT can't do that? What are you talking about? Wow, Mark, that was a very insightful idea.
If Mark, if it can infiltrate into your brain, maybe it can teach you how to improvise, but you as a human being and how you're going to react, right? It's going to be your version of yourself, your computer programming that makes you you, and that you can work with, right? I'm very much into the Joe Dispenza movement. I think that's very cool stuff that he does. But yes, I've taught at places like Gyro, New York. I've taught at McGarry Bowen. I've taught at Miami Ad School, New York, and that's where my testimonials are from and everything. And recently, I appeared in a commercial for Hell on Earth, which was such a fun
Amazing.
commercial to do.
Amazing. Fucking
Thank you.
amazing. If you have not seen this, please, I never advertise with LinkedIn ever because I hardly use it, but like go on my LinkedIn, check this out, or go on Sunita's LinkedIn, check it out because it is fucking hilarious and so well done. Bravo.
Thank you. I love that. That should be the ad for LinkedIn. I never go on LinkedIn, but go on LinkedIn for this Hell on Earth commercial starring Sunita Deshpande. I love it. I'm going to save that clip and put that on LinkedIn. But yeah, no, that was really fun. And it was based a lot on my creative content that I had just done for fun during pandemic. I had worked with a former creative boss at Translation Advertising, which is actually Jay-Z's advertising agency. It was really a great time. I helped them win Bud Light. I presented to Bud Light, and I think that that was remembered by my former colleague because, presentation skills. I have seen advertising people go up there and they are freaking out, holding up their ads, talking about their ads. You can't do that. You are selling to Kleenex, you are selling to Gillette, you are selling to multi millions and millions and millions of dollars, and people believe your energy. So if you go up there, you could have the best ad in the world. But I have seen people have straight up panic attacks, grown men. So it's funny, the people who think that it's an improv goof off class, it's not goofy at all. What I teach is applied improv, applied spontaneity. It's why my company is called Successful Spontaneity, because it is
Oh
in
man,
the
good.
moment, using that moment, hacking that moment to be your best you. Because I will tell you what is goofy. It is not improv. What is goofy is seeing a grown man go up there and lose it in front of a client and lose all of their opportunities. That is what is goofy to me. So it is definitely not a goof off class. It is a class where you learn to, in a very fun way and in a relaxed way, get up in front of people, learn how to present, brainstorm, collaborate, all that great stuff. And that's exactly why your company needs it, because a lot of people do not have that skill set. It's really strange how we actors, especially, take that skill set for granted. And so many people do not have it to collaborate or brainstorm or even work together. Yeah.
I would actually like to read a couple of these testimonials
Oh,
if I
thank you
may.
so much. That's so
Because
sweet.
just to like, go off this. Craig Saboth, I'm totally butchering these names, by the way.
You can just
Um,
say Craig.
Craig, hi Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Craig says, with zero improv background, I quickly learned the fundamentals and even performed in a show. I love that. I love that. But here's my favorite one. Here's my favorite testimonial for you. Charlie says, if you don't hire her, you're a dummy. Plain and simple. Good night, folks. Okay.
It was so sweet to get those. I mean, I think for me, I've always said in advertising, word of mouth is your best review. If somebody really loves you, you could have the best ad in the world on the biggest banner in Times Square. But if a friend tells a friend, you got to hire this person did a great job for me, they get the job done. That's the person you're going to. It's the original Yelp review, it's the testimonial, it's from the word of mouth of a friend that will never be beat by advertising. So I think again, in a time of AI, right? What has held through throughout time, what has held true? It's that word of mouth from a friend who says, I got this contractor. He's honest, he's legit, he does not pull your chain, and he charges a fair fee. You got to go with this guy. Of course, you're going to go with that guy if your
Yeah.
friend tells you, you know?
No, and that's the power of branding. Like
Yeah.
I think coming with social media marketing and whatnot, like, it's there's nothing that's going to beat word of mouth, right? But like it's your brand more than anything that helps you out in all forms of marketing. Like how you present yourself, how you make people feel,
Yes.
the quality of work that you do. I mean, all of that all comes together. And like, if you're doing good work for someone, or if you're out and about and you're talking about what you do, like hell, they might just even see some of your stuff. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to have thousands and thousands of likes and views, but if like someone likes your stuff and knows you, they're like,
Yeah.
hey, like I know that dude, and like you need help with that,
Yeah.
he's your guy.
And even
Because you're
acting,
making a
right?
connection.
Acting wise too as well. Like I have a couple friends that if someone's like, I need a white woman 35 and she can play like a Serbic like boss queen. I'm like, I know, girl, she's great. You gotta call her. I worked with her before, she's been. It's like you're the ad for them because you were so
Yeah,
impressed by them. You're like, I got a guy, I got a girl, right? Like it's the same way in acting, and it's you understand why even in Hollywood top tier people always work with their friends because they're good at
right.
it. They trust them.
Oh,
Have
especially
Bloody Marys. They've had Bloody
right.
Marys together.
we work on something, we definitely have to have like a margarita, not margarita, Bloody Mary, crafty or
And we have
something.
like our production company or something.
Oh
Yeah.
my, oh
Do you
my
love how
God.
I tied that back, the Bloody Marys? But
Yes,
yeah, it's
that's a
that.
bring back
You
right
want to be
there.
friends. Yeah.
Right, because especially when you're on set, like, you're working like these 16-hour days, man. Like, you don't want to work with assholes. You don't want to work with,
No.
ideally, you don't want to work with someone who you don't know, don't trust.
Yeah,
So you
no.
can't blame them. Like, I hear Amy Poehler's podcast. I keep referring to her a lot because I just love her podcast. Good hang. Definitely check it out. And she's talking about the early days of hanging of working with Parks and Rec, working with Tina Fey, working on a Wet Hot American Summer, and like they just it's like a clique that they have that they
It's
just
fun. Yeah.
enjoy working together,
Hmm.
because there's this trust, and I
Yeah.
think it goes same for anyone that you're working with, because hey, if you're talented, and I think honestly, if you're doing this professionally at this point, like we're all talented. I,
Yes.
I, I firmly believe that. But if you're an asshole, people are going to hear about it.
They
People are definitely going
really
to hear about it.
Absolutely. I can't agree with you more on the. I can't begin to tell you, even with the looking at the tapes, right? So many talented people. I always, again, I thought, oh, it's about acting. It's an acting contest. Again, like who's the best actor? It has nothing to do with that. I wish it did.
No,
It really doesn't. It is, do you look like this person's sister? Do you literally look like someone that this person would have as a child? Do you look, it is so focused on looks, and so that to me has been a huge awakening, and it is why I have written my own stuff, because even Sorry for Pallavi, which was my first play and it was a Samuel French finalist, I raised 20K, I made it into a movie, I played both parts. If someone else had done all those things, I don't know if I would have booked my own role, right? But I booked myself. It's like Parent Trap meets Black Swan, and it's now playing on Alaskan Airlines. It won at an Oscars qualifying festival.
love that.
So
Love
like
that.
it was like a kite that took off, and I had to go catch that kite. So that was the lesson in me going, oh, I really have to. I literally fight and strangle my Indian stereotype in that movie. That is the whole point of the movie, is me being like, you want to see casting directors, ethnic Indian girl with the accent? Great. But I'm also going to show you her sassy cousin with a mouth on her and who's slutty, right? So breaking the mold. And then also, I will have to say too, for people, all people of color especially, but everyone, you really just have to write your own stuff. It's not fun, it's not cute, it's not time consuming, it's not wanting to pull all of your hair out, which is why I cut mine, because I got so stressed my hair was falling out. I used to have really long hair. It's because you have to do it yourself, and in learning all the things that you're uncomfortable with, you're going to become a powerhouse, like it or not. You have to almost, in a time of trigger and cringe, you almost have to like force yourself, Marcus Aurelius style, against your will to do it. Against your will. There will be days you wake up and you're like, this is the last thing I want to do. But you have to do it. Like, right? If you write at 12 noon every day, you have to do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. People who work out a lot, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care if it's snowing. You're going to the gym, because when you get out of that gym that day, you're going to go, boy, did I need this more than ever. The days you don't want to go to the gym are the days you need to go to the most, right? So it's that attitude. And I think this now, in this time of, oh, self-care all the time and everything, going to the gym is a form of self-care. You know what I mean? Doing your work is a form of self-care. So for me, I kind of have a brassy attitude about that, because it's just when someone's just curled up in a blanket, not doing anything, it's not going to take you anywhere. Action is your friend in those moments, right? Kinesthetic action is your friend in those moments that you feel like not doing anything. That's when you have to do it. Even if it's a 15-second stupid video that you put out on your phone, you did something, you will feel better. You know, that's the way it should be. So, yeah, I know I'm very passionate about when I talk about that, but it's because I have seen people really just not, and me myself sometimes, before I got into that Marcus Aurelius mentality of like showing up every day to that grindstone, yoga every day at noon. I don't care. It's like almost like you become Rain Man. You have to go, right? Like it's 12 noon yoga, 12 noon yoga. You have to go. So it's creating that for yourself. I know that was a really long rant, but that's
No,
definitely how I feel.
I am personally inspired by that. That was like basically the perfect way to just wrap this up, honestly.
Okay.
Because My God. Well
You could put
said,
an
Sunita.
exploding emoji.
Right, right. Like if I was talented enough, I probably would do that. That beautifully said, Sunita. Girl, we've been at this for a bit now. We could probably talk even more over Bloody Marys, again, bringing that
We
back.
will. Our
Um,
production company, Bloody Marys.
yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah, hell yeah. I love that you came on. I love that you shared your story. I
Thank
love
you.
that end note there. Because if I'm inspired by what you said there from that, I guarantee you at least a couple other people watching this will be inspired as well. So, Sunita, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And if you have any questions to help your
Yeah.
business expand, www.successfulspontaneity.com. That's me. And I'm at Lucky Sunita on Instagram.
I'll make sure to include that in the description right here.
Yeah.
Sunita Deshpande, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much.
much.
I love that girl. She is awesome. Uh, I am so glad that we were able to reconnect. It was weird. I remember looking at the timestamp of when I last texted her, and I was hesitant to do so, but it's like, we had such a bond, that I felt like it was going to be okay, and it was. It was. We wound up kicking things off right where we last were, and it was great. It was a great interview, a great hang. Sorry, Amy Poehler, that's your thing. But thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully you're as inspired as I was from Sunita's words, from her story, from her journey here. And yeah, theater might be the way to go. Everything comes full circle, and theater might just be the solution for all us actors. In the meantime, guys, follow me at Beyond the Take podcast and all forms of social media. You can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're also on YouTube. Please show the support, the love, and the kindness. I don't never know what to say in these things. And just follow us, like us, and share us. Hopefully, you're inspired by us, and we'll continue to do more of these. But meantime, I'm Mark Schwann. Cheers.